Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the privacy and security editions, so we can have a brief look at what's going on. These are recorded live Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you would like to catch the show live, go ahead and catch us there. Otherwise, just watch this edited repeat. Why not? It's not too edited, really. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump right on into the news. First, Google enables end-to-end encryption for Android's default SMS RCS app. So I talked about this briefly at one point in time, and there's a lot of, this is an interesting one. So to bring you up to speed, text messaging is basically sending a raw notebook text file through the clouds. Anybody can grab it. It's serious, security risk. This is why it's so stupid for companies to be sending verification codes on text messaging and things like that, and why that oftentimes results in some fundamental problems. That being said, the solution is to have some degree of end-to-end encryption, but the carriers kind of lost interest in working on some protocol. Apple has never cared because Apple has iMessage and that already solves the problem. So Google is now implementing by default their platform, which is basically the exact same thing. All right. So with the exact same thing there, and I got something wrong with my camera angle there. There we go. So what they were wanting to do is they wanted to enable end-to-end encrypted messages, which is better to have the end-to-end encrypted messages than to not have them. But it still comes with a fundamental problem that these are on Google phones, on Google servers with Google public access, or I guess public and private access keys. In other words, Google can still see the messages. So the Google end-to-end encryption is fundamentally working very much like iMessage. It's also based on Signal, just like iMessage is. I think iMessage is based on, no, I don't think iMessage is based on Signal. WhatsApp is based on Signal. So it's based on Signal, very much like WhatsApp and Signal, but Google has the encryption keys. It's better for overall privacy from the world at whole. It's more secure from the world at whole because it's end-to-end encrypted, so long as, like on iMessage, you are texting somebody else. Both of you are on an Android phone. Both of you are using the stock Android text messaging app, and then it will enable this to go in end-to-end encrypted. So it's a good thing in that respect. The downside is you can become overconfident in it because Google still can't access it. So if the police are, for some reason, are interested in, everybody's text messages that walked by a bank between 10 o'clock and 8 o'clock, Monday through Friday in the month of June, they can still get that information and pass it on because Google can still see what is on there. But it is a step up from the crappy protocols that we have, but it's still not what it should be. This is why Signal still does a better job, because Signal cannot decrypt the messages where Google can. And so this in and of itself, it's it's a step in the right direction, but it's not fundamentally amazing and critical. So next, there is a new smart lock that even looks like a normal lock. You can't even tell. And this is actually plugged into Skynet. Wait, what? Yeah. If you did not watch Rob Braxton's video this week on Amazon turns on Skynet this week, go watch that video. It is an excellent video where he's talking about Sidewalk and he gets into all the fundamental problems and the fact that it is an opt-out, which means if you happen to have any Alexa or a Unicorn Meet Confirm devices laying around in your house, automatically on, I think it was June 9th, so it was a week ago, automatically every Amazon device on the internet turned itself on. It can, it's basically a large-scale mesh network. So I can think of there's within a decent range from where I'm at, there's a few people that have Ring doorbells. Probably a lot of people that have Alexas in their house. All of these things are all now communicating, and they can pick up and carry waves and information back and forth. This new smart lock actually can connect to Alexa and thus the Skynet network, and you can't even tell. However, you can get in there and open the door up with your smartphone, and I'm looking at this photograph thinking, why in the world? It takes more effort to pull out your smartphone, unlock it, get the app, and push the button than it does to take the key out of your pocket and open your damn door. What is going on, people? Do we really need a smart lock that, by the way, is hackable and breachable? Some moron's going to be coming around with a phone. Yeah, watch this. Watch what my Raspberry Pi could do. Click, open door, and then, they can just kind of bust right on in. And, of course, it's connected to Skynet, so you don't even know this is connected to this device. It's basically a stealth spy device that's sitting on your lock. But, yeah, it looks just like this. It looks exactly like exactly like just a standard door lock. So here's the individual components, but they have the tiny batteries, which last about a year. Hopefully, they are user replaceable, and you can pull this thing apart and replace the batteries. They said the batteries will last about a year. And hopefully, by the way, you actually have a way into your house when the battery dies one day and you don't realize it. I actually used to have a keyless entry system. It didn't have like Skynet capabilities, but you enter there and enter a key code and you can enter in. It really sucks the day you come back, you're already having a bad day and you go to enter and the batteries are dead. Now, I always had the foresight to have spare keys laying around so I could still get into the house. But man, it was just the putting on top of a really bad day. So here you have it. It's basically looks like a lock, kind of ingenious, really interesting stuff. But yeah, it fits with, they also work at Amazon Sidewalk Network. That would be the Skynet network. That's not Sidewalk, that's Skynet. So definitely, Lordy. It's coming, guys. It's coming. The technology will be like, it'll be like iRobot, right? The robots all come in for your safety. You're not allowed to leave the house, because Vicky determines that in order to follow the 3 laws perfectly, you have to prevent humans from doing anything and make them prisoners in their own homes. Very interesting. That is where our tech is going to end up getting us. Call me a Luddite, but yeah. Well, Facebook, this is actually from Facebook's blog. Facebook is starting to test actual ads now in the VR headsets. So you're doing around your headset and all of a sudden you see a virtual ad. It's going to be very much like Minority Report. Hello, Bob Johnson. How'd you like those panties the other day? What? Come in from a bad day. Would you like me to turn on your favorite naughty website? Whoa, the thing knows a little bit too much. But you can see kind of here how it's looking with the VR. They got the ads in here. And what's significant about these is that these ads are pulling in information from your Facebook profiles. So it's pulling in all the things that Facebook already knows about you and pushing ads onto you that it thinks that you want based upon the information it has about you. So you can kind of see, you can read through the whole thing. Of course, all of the articles we're talking about today are linked in the description. Go to the switchedtolinux.com site down there and to the linked page, and you'll see a list of all the articles for this week's news. You can see that the Oculus ads will follow Facebook advertising principles, built for people first. Important people can manage the ads they see. So it including controls to hide specific ads or hide ads from an advertiser completely. So basically all of the Facebook ad preferencey type stuff is all embedded in there. And so, yeah, basically they've been collecting all the data. Now they know it all about you. Now they have you addicted with all of the cutesy little toys and games and stuff. And pretty much soon they're just going to be paying us in Soma. In fact, stick around to Sillyville and maybe that's kind of happening. Maybe, I don't know. So anyway, that is what Facebook is up to. So in Ireland, if there's any Irish out there, I've not seen Computing Forever comment on this quite yet, but indeed. So the Irish police are now being given power to get your password. If you do not get your password, like if you're stopped for a traffic stop, they now have the right to get your password and extract your password. No more. No, this isn't self-incrimination. The debate going back and forth in the United States courts. Some courts are saying, no, you cannot be forced to compel your password. Other places say, yes, you can be compelled to give your password. There's some back and forth on this. Ireland says, no. You can be compelled to give up your password. Countrywide, if you're stopped, we get your passwords, period. And so they're putting in here some things, they can hold you up for up to 48 hours while they do an investigation. It does allow for up to a week detention if it suspects that human trafficking is involved. So, of course, they're talking about powers and safeguards, aka, yeah, they have all the power, you have no safeguards. So, sorry guys in Ireland, but unfortunately, that's probably coming to the rest of the world soon too. So, we'll all just be little peons in our serfdom of insanity that our society is producing. And on to our final article today. What is up with your check body lights illuminating? Well, the next step for wearables could be illness warning lights. That's right. You are going to have a check body light illuminating on your smart devices. We talked about a little bit about this where some investigation was done with the COOF and looking at how body metric stuff changes. Unfortunately, though, it's not completely reliable because I promise you that my biometrics is probably slightly different today than it was yesterday at this time because of this hot chili that I ate today. It's so stinking hot. You know, it's kind of melting my insides as we speak. But that's perfectly okay. I'm aware of that. But at what point in time does your smartwatch sit here and be like, hey, check your body out? You need to go get a test for something because we detect something a little bit wrong. Here's the problem is that these smart devices, these wearables, they are all constantly reporting data back home, which means that if there is a blip that your smartwatch determines that is something that you need to go do a checkup, the big tech company behind your smartwatch also knows you should be getting a checkup. And at what point in time are they going to block you out? Are they going to force constant ads? Are they going to snitch on you because you're not going and getting a test that their device says you might need, but they know because they have all the data on it? People, stop wearing these stupid smart devices. Stop wearing these wearables that can track your biometrics and hand it up to companies. You are playing with fire. Did you hear that, guys? You are playing with fire if you are doing that. Stop giving people this data about you. It is too private. They have proven time and time and time again that they cannot be trusted. In fact, we'll look to the extent that they cannot be trusted in a moment. First, though, if you want to help support the channel, you can jump on over there to our affiliates. We are highlighting Linode today, tlm.li/Linode. You can use my Linode link there, tlm.li/Linode. Get $100 in credit, good for 60 days. You can spin these guys up. Linode is actually what saved me this week, where we had this crazy server go down. I was able to determine that it was a Node.js server on DigitalOcean that nobody had access to. Nobody knew where it was because the third world country developers ghosted the project. But we had a repository of code floating around. I was able to detect what it was. I just jumped into my Linode account, spun up a Linode server, installed Nginx, installed a Node server, deployed our code. Boom, our app was back up online. And it's going to cost us $5 a month. I think it's $10 a month. We're doing the extra backups and stuff. So with that, definitely take a look at Linode. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. I have hosting on it. I have Nextcloud on it. We do our Jitsi on it. There's a lot of things that you can do with your Linode account. So tlm.li/Linode. Now let's have a look at some security breaches. So first up, there's a data breach exposing McDonald's employee and customer information. The good news about this breach is McDonald's company caught it very early and put a stop to it so that very, very few points of data were released. It was United States. Now, the subset here says South Korea and Taiwan. It was South Korea, Taiwan, and United States. So all three of those places. So basically, like, how'd they get customer data? Very simple. Some of y'all guys are downloading their stupid app and giving them access to all sorts of data. Really, guys? Really? Stop using stuff, okay? McDonald's has not breached my data. How? Because when I want to clog my arteries up with McDonald's, I go in and I pay them cash. Now, maybe they're running, facial recognition stuff on me and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But at least they're not going to get my payment information and things like that. Now, it also got employee information. So it was able to get, let's see, Access emails, phone numbers, delivery addresses, maybe some Grubhub type stuff as well. Customer payment information was not part of the leaked data. However, regulators and customers affected by the hack will soon be notified. So yeah, you don't know yet. If you got that McDonald's app, I'd probably get rid of that. Hackers behind it didn't demand any payment to deliver the stolen information. Daily operation of restaurants in South Korea and Taiwan were not affected. So there we have it, guys. Just a reminder, don't get stupid apps unless you need the stupid app for something stupid, like find some other need. But yeah, you don't really need the app. So I would probably recommend not doing that. VW also had a data breach of customers. So in this case, it was possibly connected to a third party, but it was basically the information required, the background when you go in to buy a car, all the information that they collect in order to sell you a car, your financial information, your credit checks, addresses, stuff like that, all that type of stuff that leaked out. So they call this a major data breach. Basically 3.3 million customers from the United States and Canada. Anybody that was out there at VW trying to buy cars from VW, the data breach, it was gathered by the vendor between 2014 and 2019, and they are blaming it on a third-party vendor. This is another big problem I have, is companies relying on third-party vendors. Like the one I mentioned in the Linode section there. I was originally the one scheduled to do the website, and somebody in a third world country outbid me for the website, so they got the job. Well, 6 months later, they come back to me like, help, these guys have abandoned it. Things are falling apart. They don't know what they're doing. The whole thing's falling apart. It's like, duh, I told you that. That's why you pay me a little bit more, because I kind of know what I'm doing. And so the problem is that what happened in this case is the company brought in a firm which brought in another third party. And then the third party just abandoned it at one point in time and didn't tell anybody what anything is, where it is, how it's working, or anything else. They just ghosted it. And then now you're left holding the bag, not knowing what to do. Well, when companies bring in the third party, and oftentimes they're bringing in the one that's most cost effective, which usually means the guy that's left the password open and the AWS S3 calendar opens up and leaks out all of the data. And then it's like, oh crap. But then nobody ever disciplines these guys. Nothing ever happens. They say, well, at least the credit card information wasn't taken. That is the least thing that you want to worry about. This is why we need to have some good, solid set laws about what data can be collected, how long, and where. If you're not actively doing business, it should be against the law for you to be holding it on any access system that is available to the internet. Fine, you want to hold the historical data for the last 7 years? That's fine. I haven't done business with you in 1 year. My data must come off of your platform, must stay in offline only copies. Oh, but that's inconvenient. Yes, and hackers are not getting it at all. Period. That's the type of stuff we need to start seeing, and then these breaches wouldn't happen. Well, there was a 7-year-old problem in a root in Polkit. So the Polkit, what it would do when you're trying to run this is it would first check if you had the proper privileges. But if you interrupted the check before it was done, it would drop it and assume you're a root user. Whoops. And then it's able to drop you into root, and then you could do all sorts of fun, nasty stuff. And this has been patched in some distros. It has not yet been patched in others. So be warned. I'm pretty sure it's going to be patched very soon everywhere else. And if this makes you any more comforting, Revile or Revil, whatever they're called, yeah, they breached a U.S. nuclear weapons contractor. Do we feel safe yet? Feel like Bane. Do you feel in control? You know, I mean, really. So yeah, we got some nuclear warheads over here, and they're like, yeah, well, we will neither confirm nor deny that anything would happen. But then later on we hear, yeah, they just got a payroll application. Yeah, it was just a payroll application. No. Whoops, that was a payload application. Whoops. But, you know, making it sound a little bit more ominous. They're saying it's payroll, but I think it's a payload application. Like, they're saying it's a payroll application. You can apply for your job here. No, it's a payload application. An application to deploy the payload. You know. But anyway, it's just make you confirmed. I mean, think of the government. They want to help secure things, guys. Don't forget. Now, sure, it was a Contractor, but yeah, the government does go with those. 26 million Amazon, Facebook, Apple, eBay user logins were stolen by hackers. Where did these come from? Well, oftentimes it was pirated software. So, you pirated things like the next version of Windows that might be coming out soon, and you might have actually inadvertently installed the malware on your system that took screenshots. It harvested files. Basically, they found a large portion of people are saving all their passwords on Notepad, which is kind of fun. Come on, guys, at least use a Word document. Come on, or Excel spreadsheet. I mean, you can pretend to password protect that, and it'll take a guy that knows what they're doing about 35 seconds to crack it. I mean, really. So, but 26 million Amazon, Facebook, Apple, and eBay user logins were stolen. Also, Walmart's in there, Facebook. Let's see, I think we already mentioned Facebook. So basically, people were downloading software from a variety of different pirated type places, and embedded in that software is a whole bunch of nasty stuff. And so you want to make sure that you're not installing fake stuff, because chances are it's going to do this, or anything shady for that matter. Now into our main topic, who watches the Vigilante malware? Well, a new Vigilante malware has been deployed that is ratting out software pirates and then blocking the Pirate Bay. So people have been deploying onto Pirate Bay torrents for software applications. Maybe it's an Adobe Suite, some cool video game, whatever else, and the torrenter downloads it, opens it, and executes it. And then what ends up happening there is it is malware that harvests the IP address, sends that along to the manufacturer and the ISP, and then it makes a modification to the host file of your computer to prevent you from being able to access the Pirate Bay. So, of course, you go in and edit the host file back. But yeah, this is the Vigilante malware, they're calling it, that's going to go in there, and it's going to prevent you from being able to use the Pirate Bay and probably a few other places out there as well, and basically just pretends to be pirated software of various types. This is yet another reason I'm just not interested in pirating software. I'll do with whatever I can do with whatever I have. Well, if you want to help support the channel, you can have a look over on Patreon, patreon.com/TOMM. I'm not sure why that, I don't know, Patreon thing's not loading quite right. Or they changed how their page looks. But anyway, I have 3 different channels I support through Patreon. You can jump on over there, patreon.com/TOMM if you want to help support us over there. So thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.